All right, we are here at the Thrift and Thrive at the Austin Irving Business District area, and we're with Melissa and Joseph Basilone, the owners of Thrift and Thrive. We are finally getting together to do our little introduction to the community, Portage Park community, to the Irving Austin district. We're technically in West Portage Park. So let's talk a little bit about the history of Thrift and Thrive, kind of your backgrounds, a little bit about the neighborhood, why you guys decided to get into the neighborhood, your mission at Thrift and Thrive, and also kind of contact information as well. But before we do that, we're going to kind of go through where you're located, and that's at 6025 West Irving Park, Chicago, Illinois, 60634. They are open from 9:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Phone number 773
283-1653.
Okay. You guys are located on Facebook at?
Yes. We have a very, very active Facebook page. It's Thrift&Thrive. If you just type that into Google, it'll pull it right up.
And if we wanted to get here via public transportation, we don't have an L running through Portage Park, but we do have two bus lines. Do you know them offhand?
Yes, the two bus lines that you can get here by are Irving Park Road or the Austin bus.
Yes, the Austin. I have here on my notes the Austin bus number 91. Does that sound
91,
right?
yep.
91, and the Irving Park bus number 80. And first of all, let's talk a little bit about your backgrounds. Now, Joseph, you were saying that you were born and raised in New York.
In Nyack, New York. Yeah.
Nyack, New York, and kind of made your way down to Florida, and now you're in Chicago.
That's right.
And Melissa, you're from New Mexico?
I am from New Mexico. I'm from a small town, Clovis, New Mexico, and before that, I lived in Clovis, and then I moved to England, and then I lived in Florida where I met Joe, and we came up here about 10, 11 years ago.
About 11 years ago, yeah.
And you also have two children. Talk about your children.
Yes. We have two beautiful boys. One is 6, Liam is 6, and he goes to Thorpe right down the street on Austin. And we have Evan, who is 2. He just turned 2 in August.
And where do you both live?
So we live about 5-minute walking distance from here, right by the corner of Addison and Austin.
So you walk here to work?
We do.
Yes.
Essentially. Now, through my notes, I'm going to kind of read off what you put together on your Facebook page and tell me if I'm reading this correctly. Thrift and Thrive is a neighborhood thrift store. You take excess items from the community and make them available for others to purchase at affordable prices. You guys opened up in July of 2011, just west of Austin Avenue on Irving Park. You're literally almost directly across the street from the patio theater.
Yes.
Just about.
So you're really taking advantage of that street traffic, the pedestrian traffic, quote unquote pedestrian traffic, along the Irving Austin corner area here, especially with the new coffee house that's opened up, Regulus Coffee, which is kitty corner from you, kind of kitty corner across the street, and the patio theater as well. So talk a little bit about why you decided to open a thrift store in this area.
Well, there's a bunch of different factors, I think, that play into this. We live in the neighborhood, and we both come from small business backgrounds. Both of our families had small businesses, and we always knew that we were going to do something together. And I got laid off of my job of being an editor for 8 years, and we decided that rather than re-enter the workforce for myself, to be able to stay with the boys more, that we would take a big risk and open up a shop in our neighborhood, because this is where we live. We wanted it to be a better place. We wanted to create more to do here for other people, and so we just decided to take the chance and open it up.
Take the plunge.
And was the area, talk about the area you decided to kind of put your business in. Why West Portage Park? Why the Irving Austin Business District?
Sure. You know, we had lived here, we've been here about a little over 5 years now. And so for about 4 years, just about every day, we'd take a walk and say, gee, I wish there was more to do here. I wish there was more to do here. And one day we decided to be part of the solution, you know, and and then found something here that the residents could enjoy. And I'd spent 15 years in retail myself, had a pretty good background. Like Melissa said, we both came from small business families. We met at a coffee shop that I used to own about 15 years ago down in Gainesville, Florida, and so it wasn't my first foray into entrepreneurship, but much like she said, we had to find something that we could do, not only to support our family and be able to raise our children from home the way that we wanted to, but as well to support the community.
So why Chicago in general? Coming from Florida to Chicago, what was the big driver there?
Should we tell them the real reason? I'm a blues musician.
Okay.
On a short hiatus now since we started having kids, but like I said before, I owned a coffee shop and a music venue, more notably in Gainesville, Florida, and decided to go on the road with my band and try to make it big. And being in the blues, we felt that Chicago was the right place to come. So 11 years ago, we got engaged, packed up our house and our 4 cats and bandmates, and moved up here, and the rest is history.
So July 2011, you open up the store. Talk about kind of the process of kind of opening a small business in West Portage Park. And the alderman, I believe, is Alderman Cullerton, correct?
Yeah.
At the time, he still is the alderman. But talk about the process of opening a business here.
Yes. Well, we knew that we wanted to do it where we lived, because this is where our family is, this is where our heart is. So when we found this space, we thought it was perfect because it's at a main intersection. At the time, the patio was not open and the Regulus did not exist. So there were a couple of other shops, but we fell in love with the storefront itself. It's a historic building and it still retains a lot of its original charm, yes. And so we decided we liked the space, and we decided to open up here. We liked the landlords, and it all worked out. So we decided to open up the space here, and it took us about a month to get everything organized, and about a month before we opened, the patio magically reopened, which was very
Great
serendipitous.
timing.
It was fantastic for us. We were surprised and very glad to have another new business open up, especially an entertainment venue. So the act of opening the business was pretty smooth sailing, getting business license and getting the merchandise together.
Everything was coordinated pretty well through the city to get the process of the city.
Yeah,
the
Joe
business
handled
open.
most of that.
I would say it took a little more than a month.
Right.
We started really brainstorming the idea back in December of 2010, and then really started going gung-ho by January. Right after the holidays is when we really started getting all the paperwork together and incorporating, getting the business license, acquiring the merchandise, which was quite a feat in and of itself, the fixtures and all of that, and then signed the lease in April, occupied the space in May, right? May 15th, I believe, and then by
the official
July,
opening was in July.
Yeah, by the big first week of July, we were open.
So what was the process like of getting the inventory? Within, first of all, purchasing the inventory, but making sure you filled the shop. And it's essentially a resale shop, correct?
Yes.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Should we tell them the real story?
You inherited it all, right?
It was a lot of work. I mean, we did have a number of really generous friends and family and neighbors that came to our aid. Shipping boxes from both coasts, and of course, folks from Chicago and whatnot. A lot of garage sales. As a matter of fact, one of our favorite pastimes was to go garage sailing on a Sunday, and right about the time when the person that threw the garage sale was getting tired of their 3-day garage sale, go up and make them an offer to just take everything, and they were more than glad to oblige. And so we got a lot of stuff that way. We bought out the contents of 2 thrift stores, one in Elmhurst, and then more notably the Luther North thrift shop, which many viewers might know from Addison Avenue. It was there about 30 years.
What's a resale / thrift store from your perspective?
It's a shop that provides used goods for a lower cost than what you would pay new back out to the community.
I think it also has to, it has to give back to the community. And one of the things that we had said, prior to opening is, we want to be there. And while we're not a 501c3, we want to make sure that we're running our business, our for-profit business, from a non-profit business model standpoint. And, right down to the fact that if somebody walks in and they need a coat and they're cold and they have no money, here's a coat, you know. So I think a thrift store and a resale shop, regardless of whether or not it's run by a charity or it's run by private individuals like us, has to give back, and the main way we give back is by offering high quality, low cost merchandise.
So the volume, is it more people walking off the streets coming in, or is it people parking to shop here, or is it equal kind of balance between the two? I mean, do you get a lot of people from within the community itself?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think that it's probably a good combination of both. We have a lot of foot traffic on this block, which is very good for us. We have a lot of foot traffic from other businesses in the area. We have people who come here specifically just to come to the shop. We have a large following on Facebook, and a lot of those people see our merchandise and they come in for the special sales that we have, or our items of the day. And so a lot of it is a good mix of people who are coming here intentionally, people who are just passing by.
If you're coming from outside of, if customers are coming from outside of Portage Park, is there parking in the neighborhood in front of Thrift and Thrive or through the outlying area?
There is. I mean, I think, and there's a lot of complaints about the parking in you know, on Irving Park Road. I think the folks that have lived in the community for 20, 30 years are probably not thrilled with the parking meter situation, as you know, most of us aren't. But it helps us always have parking, and so I mean, you can always find a spot. There's not a ton of permit parking around either. So between the buses and the foot traffic and the parking, and you know, I think there's ample opportunity to get out and shop around the area. Now
let's talk a little bit more about the inventory. What specifically highlight what you're selling, essentially? Knickknacks, all the above?
We sell pretty much anything that anybody else can reuse. We have a lot of clothing. We do accessories, shoes. We carry a lot of jewelry that's very popular. Popular here. We have linens, curtains, blankets, you know, hats, toys, house goods, books, VHS tapes, DVD.
Records are huge.
Records are a big seller for us. Furniture, we do have a smaller space, but we have furniture which goes quickly, so we keep that stock rotated out really well.
I think you summed it up great. I mean, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that people will bring in a bag of donations or goods or whatnot, and they'll say, you know, do you take this, do you take that? And, you know, literally, as long as it's not garbage, yes, you know, we take it.
We'll find a home for it.
We've got a very small garbage can out back, and it oftentimes doesn't go full. We really
try not to throw anything away.
Not much goes out the back door, I'll tell you that much.
So let's talk now a little Austin Irving. Across the street, you've got the patio theater, as we mentioned, and we've got Regulus Coffee, and there's still some empty storefronts a little bit along here, along Irving Park. They are doing some work down the street here to put some artwork in the old bank building that's on the corner of Irving Park and Austin as well. Everybody that lives in Portage Park knows that this is a wonderful area. It's a beautiful place to walk. It's one of the few areas, frankly, in Portage Park where you've got a kind of an uninterrupted row of storefronts that lasts maybe about 2 or 3 blocks, I would say. So it makes for very nice, walkable neighborhood community feel, especially with the coffee house there and the patio theater. What are, and this is more of a general question for you, kind of how are you going to fit into the kind of the greater scope of what Austin Irving Business District is trying to become?
How are we going to fit in? Well, I think that, like you said, the strip is very walkable. It's got a Main Street feel, I think. Yeah, it's got entertainment, it's got a bank, it's got salons, it's got places to eat. It's pretty much got everything that you need. We're fitting into that as a retail space where people can shop, walk to. We've started working with the other business owners in the district to form the Irving Austin Business District to make this more of a destination, to bring people here, to put the idea in their head that Irving Austin Business District is a destination. It's somewhere you want to park and you want to walk and you want to shop and you want to eat and you want to go and see a movie. So we're working hard to create events and to organize and get everybody together who are business owners to bring more people out to shop, and possibly even more business owners to open up businesses in those vacant storefronts, and families even to move into the community. We're really working hard to develop the business district and our neighborhood as a whole.
And you guys have, I believe, you're working with Alderman Cullerton in terms of the grander plan of the infrastructure improvements that are supposed to happen on this intersection here. They're supposed to bump out, I think, some of the sidewalks, make it more walkable, widen the sidewalks a little bit. I think hopefully slow down the traffic.
Yes.
Because if people who've grown up in this neighborhood know, the traffic was never as high a volume as it is now, nor is it, frankly, is fast. These cars are going fairly fast along the streets here. How nice it would be, and it is going to be nicer within the year, according to Alderman Cullerton, in terms of the infrastructure improvements that are going to be made along this stretch here. People to feel comfortable walking with their families along kind of the sidewalks into these storefronts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a ton of residential around here, and I think it's screaming for places like this. And you know, one of the reasons why we decided to go with a thrift store, living in the community and kind of seeing what the needs of the community are. We've been here for 5 years, and we bought right at the height of the real estate market, and everybody was employed and everybody was doing well, and we were all shopping at the hip, and you know, and times were great. But you know, we've since seen a lot of our neighbors and friends that have gone jobless, and luckily you know, not homeless yet, but we found a real need for a store like ours.
Sure.
So not only does it complement it just from I mean, everybody loves a thrift store, right?
Sure.
There's, you know, you never know what you're going to find, always unique items and whatnot, but we found that there was probably just a need for people to be able to purchase goods for their families, save money, shop locally, keep the money in the neighborhood. And you know, our lives exist within a 4-block radius. We almost live in the 1950s. You know, we're 4 blocks away. Our son goes to school 2 blocks away. We own and work here. You know, and I think there's a lot of families these days that want to return to a life like that. And the Austin Irving Business District, hopefully in time, will be able to provide that.
Let me just add one more thing that's, I think, important. Everybody loves shopping in thrift resale shops, but they love it even more when that thrift resale shop is really clean.
Yes.
And this store is very clean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you brought that up because, you know, we are here to provide, you know, reused merchandise back to the community at really affordable costs, but one of our big things, our slogan is reuse, resale, recycle. We're a greener, cleaner thrift store, and we really put a lot of work into making sure that the items that we put out are clean, and we make our own cleaners in-house. It's all natural, and so we clean the merchandise and disinfect it before we put it out, especially toys and that sort of thing. So it doesn't have a dingy feel like some, you know, people might think a thrift store would be. It's very clean in here and very organized, and it goes along with our home values. We practice a lot of green practices in our house, and you know, having a thrift store is a method of recycling. You know, whenever you're ready to get rid of stuff, you can give it back out and somebody else can reuse it.
So before we finish up, what do you want to leave the audience with in terms of their experience coming to Thrift and Thrive?
Well, I think we're a family-owned, heavily invested in our community, and the people who live here, we're invested in our neighborhood, and I think it's a good shopping experience. You can come here, you can buy great products at really affordable prices, and you can be treated as a friend when you walk through the doors and have great customer service, and everybody who comes through once always comes back.
Absolutely. Yeah, leave the hospital masks at home. It's nice and clean, dust-free, friendly, like you mentioned. And I think one of the things that always sticks out to me when I look around the shop is, you know, 90% of our merchandise is from this neighborhood. And that's kind of fascinating on it, you know, just from a social standpoint, that, you know, in the walls of this community, there are those people that are in need, and there are those people that have extra things, and we're just kind of like the trading post, you know. So we're here, stop in, say hi, have a chat, let's talk about the neighborhood, and let's make it a better place together.
Thrift and Thrive on 6025 West Irving Park Road, Chicago, Illinois, 60634 is the full address. We've been speaking with Melissa and Joseph Basilone. You have a website, which is thriftandthrive.com. It's under construction.
Yes.
And it's thriftnthrive.com. Under construction. When are we looking at? What are we looking at in terms of that being?
probably just a couple more weeks.
You're getting a ton of traffic off of your Facebook page, though.
It's fabulous. We have over 600 likes, and we put an item of the day up there every day. We have a furniture for sale item, our furniture for sale photo album, as well as baby and toy stuff album up there. So people check it regularly, and we have quite a following.
So if you want to go to the Facebook page, what is that? How do you get access to that?
Just type in Thrift&Thrive, and it'll bring you right to us.
You also have an email address at thriftandthrive@gmail.com.
Yes.
And that's an N instead of an ampersand in the middle.
Yes.
Right.
Hours. Let's repeat the hours.
We're open from 9:30 until 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. We're closed on Sundays.
And again, if you want to access Thrift and Thrive via public transit, there's the Irving Park bus number 80 and the Austin bus number 91. And I believe that's it. Is there anything else you want to add before we close this up?
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate
Yes.
it.
Thank you to Melissa and Joseph Basilone.